we're going to call it 6:20.
6:17.
17? Okay, 6:17.
It's a way of keeping here, so yeah.
Good evening. It is Monday, April 24th at 6:17. This is the Recreation and Park Committee. I am Jeffrey Wynn, the chairman. I am joined by Mr. Roselle and Mr. Schilling tonight. Tonight we're here to discuss we're here to discuss a building lease and ground lease with Busted Brick Realty, the tune of $150,000 to build public restrooms. Mr. Titterington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is at the Mayflower. This is part of the renovation project, and we talked to the building owner early on, knowing that we all would like to see some public restrooms in the downtown, and this project will be able to accommodate that. We structured the lease with the owners, Mr. Kerber, and the owner's attorney. It would be a 50-year lease. It would be the southeast corner, right off of Prouty Plaza. It would be a 50-year lease. The idea would be that we would front the lease costs, so we don't have an ongoing cost to offset the construction costs and assist the owner, but also to lock it in for that period of time. $140,000 would be up front, $10,050. There's $1 a year back and forth for consideration. That would be paid upon completion, so it's $150,050. The idea is that as we've done with other projects, the CIC would hold the actual lease. A similar project was with Lincoln Community Center. So the city would transfer or authorize the CIC to sign a lease on our behalf, transfer the funds so that those funds can then be transferred to Busted Brick, and then we would oversee the construction. The way the public restrooms would work, and I apologize, we could have probably put a rendering in here, but right off of Prouty Plaza, right at the corner there of the plaza and the Mayflower building is actually along the mural wall. There would be restroom doors. To accommodate the elevation change in the floor, there would be a ramp. It would be hidden by a knee wall. The owner will paint that knee wall so that the mural is protected as much as possible. The public restrooms would be only accessible by those doors. The patrons of the rest of the Mayflower won't be used by those. They'll have separate restrooms. The city will be responsible for securing the restrooms and cleaning the restrooms. Utilities are being worked out with the main tenant, A.M. Scott, as an offset that we would come to you later regarding. Let's see. With that, so that's the building part of it that we would lease. They also went to the park board, they being the building owner, about possibly getting a 10-foot easement along the mural wall, a ground easement on Prouty Plaza, which the park board agreed to when we structured the building as a lease. The attorneys felt like the easiest way to do this would just make that portion of lease as well, and just fold it in to the rest of it. That's why you see a building and ground lease all in one. We are requesting emergency legislation. We need to get documents executed and get the final language transferred to the CIC and then closed with the building owner.
Is it too early to talk timelines for completion, or are you just not sure of those?
It is, okay. Yes, but the sooner we can get it all locked in, the sooner they can start their construction, and hopefully by the end of the year we would have restrooms available, or thereabouts.
Mr. Roselle, even
it sits back a little bit from it's not up on the sidewalk, it's back
a little bit, but isn't it before?
It being,
The restrooms are back up, I mean, they're on that wall, but they're not up even where the sidewalk would be right now, are they? Set back a little bit?
I have the footprint, but yeah, there is.
I mean, that's what Al drew out this afternoon.
Michelle, any questions?
Couple questions. So we're going to cut doors in this beautiful mural we have downtown. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are the doors going to be painted?
Yes.
So that it's sort of like hidden, so it won't destroy
It
the
won't be
mural?
totally hidden.
So we haven't heard from our historical preservation people on this yet?
Well, the mural itself is not a historic preservation issue.
It's been done twice.
They feel it is, but certainly has some value, certainly has some relevance to the downtown, not saying that it doesn't. But with the rendering that we can email to you,
I got the pictures of that.
It does, they do replicate that on the doors.
And then what happens to the easement on the northeast side of the building? There's an easement in the deed.
Yeah, this would not go all the way to the back there, so there would not be any crossover in the easements.
Okay. And then my other question would be, if we're going to put I guess for lack of a better term, a sidewalk along on the east side, essentially partially on the east side of that building, then, I mean, since the deed is in the city's name, the city could build that sidewalk and the retaining wall, or the knee, what you call a knee wall, build the ramp and the knee wall. The city could do that essentially by ourselves and own that, right? Why are we getting essentially the only thing we ask the property owner is for the doors to be able to get into the building. So why are we ceding land to the property owner when we could essentially do that ourselves?
Well, we could do it ourselves, but if
because
they want the whole 10-foot north of the sidewalk along Main Street,
right?
By folding it into this lease, it's 1 50-year time frame, which could be cut short by mutual agreement. Then the only reason for that ramp and that knee wall is related to the restrooms. So by having it all together, having them construct all of this at the same time with their folks, it's much more cost effective and efficient for us to do it that way, rather than the city come in and have their own construction crew do a relatively small part of the overall project.
Yeah, but we had some problems when the donut place down there on, their construction crews did the work, but yet then they had to go back and pay a prevailing wage on that part. They did some sewer work or something,
Tim Hortons?
Tim Hortons, yeah. Right, that intersection where Tim Hortons is. We had some problems. I mean, they did the work, and then they paid their wages, and then they had to go back and find everybody and pay them prevailing wages because of that.
This is not a utility project. This is not a public.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still the city's involved in it.
The city is just leasing
Stuff from CSC.
the portion of the property. That's it. The city is leasing that part of the building, and so as part of that, because it is associated with the restrooms, they would be doing the access point. I mean, yes, the doors are in the wall,
right?
But to get to those doors and be able to step up, that's why we have to have that ramp. So
yeah, but I don't know why we're giving our property. I don't know why we're leasing our city property in order to do that. I mean, we could do it ourselves.
All right, because
it's not going to be any cheaper.
It's cleaner to do it that way because there's more to it. That ground lease is not just for the ramp. That's just a very small part of it. They want 10 feet going north along the mural wall because then they want to put landscaping and they want to put concrete out for the potential of having outdoor seating later on. So there's more to it than it's the ground lease is not as much associated with the restrooms as it is the rest of the operations of the whatever they're going to call the restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happens when Busted Brick sells that property? What happens to the lease?
The lease just continues. Yeah.
Pardon?
It runs with the land.
The lease continues.
Whoever buys it.
Whoever buys it has to buy the lease, buy into the lease.
They have to honor the lease.
Yes, honor the lease.
Right. And that's the way it would be recorded.
Okay, and then the other question is that well, I guess with the wall it wouldn't be that bad, but I'm thinking the stage that we move in and out of there, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind that stage. And so this thing's not going to interfere with that? I mean, as far as people dining there and...
Yeah, we've already talked about, like, repositioning the stage. There was an old flower, bricked up flower bed from the Kiwanis. That was taken down with their permission. And so now we have, the park department has a lot more flexibility in what they can do with the showmobile than they did.
Move it out to the levee or whatever they want to do with it. Okay. I don't have any other questions, I don't think.
For the record, that was the City Law Director, Mr. Kerber, answering Mr. Schilling's questions earlier. Mr. Rizzo, what is your pleasure understanding they are asking for emergency legislation?
Move forward with emergency.
I think we'll move forward.
It is unanimous to move forward. Is there any other legislation to come before the committee?